All right, so what I want to today is I want to go over my commander decks. I want to look at them for the brackets. I want to see what bracket, for example, Moxfield has Animar listed in bracket 2. Oh, it's fucking hilarious. I love it. Let's find out what Animar is bracket 2. Animar, so this is Moxfield. Moxfield, they say, please, this is a family friendly site. Um, adjust your naming conventions and title your decks accordingly. So that's why I've got Animar Eldrazi The real name is Animar Surprise Motherfucker. That's the real name of the deck. Because it has a lot of morph creatures, has some big Eldrazi. It's Surprise Motherfucker. So, bracket 2. Animar has no game changers, no mass land denial, no extra turn cards, and only two tutors. Fauna Shaman, which is Survival of the Fittest on legs, and a Pure Recruiter, which is this guy here. Two in red comes into play, 1/1 creature. And when he comes into play, you can go look through your library for any creature power 2 or less, and put in your hand, and then shuffle. So typically, what he finds is a counterspell creature. He can find Draining Wilk. He can find Mystic Snake. He can find Venser Shaper Savant. Let's see, what other counterspell creature? I thought I had four. Did I have Tashan? Yeah, he can find Tashan's Tidebind. No, he can't. No. But in my last, she cost 3. So officially, Enimar is bracket 2. That's not the case. He's bracket 3. He can hold his own against. Now, the funny thing about the bracket system is the lads I play with and we talk about it because it's part of the meta of EDH of Commander. So it's in the group discussions. If you play this format and you're on the internet at all, you can't not know about it. But we don't really use it. We still sit down and question, okay, what kind of game do you want? Do you want a fast game? Do you want a medium paced game? Do you want a high power game? And usually that's Cube asking because he wants to play one of his big Eldrazi decks. He's got two Eldrazi decks. He's got Big Eldrazi, which is Zuladoc, which is all about doubling triggers and fucking Ulamog and Kozilek bullshit. And then he's got the multicolor Eldrazi, which we don't let him play them very often because most of the time we don't take decks that can stand up to them because he's got them tuned pretty good and he still hasn't tuned them all the way. He could do more. He can make them nastier. But Enimar, Enimar can go toe to toe with those decks because it's all about creatures with Enimar. So he comes down, and the deck is designed to get him into play on turn 3. I want him down on turn 3, so I can start casting creatures and making the subsequent creatures cheaper and cheaper and cheaper until I can, cast my own Eldrazi for free. You know, a free 10 mana creature. You just drop this guy down because Animar has 10 counters on him. What's not to love, right? It's kind of, it's fun. Um, and he's just full of creatures that do different things. This one fucks with blue. Kozilek, of course, drops into play. I draw 4 cards. He's got Annihilator 4, and he's a 12/12 beater. Kiga, if Kiga dies, I get control of a creature. He goes and finds something. She gives me mana for the plus and plus encounter she gets. He gets plus and plus encounters for every creature, every spell. Not just creature, any spell anybody casts. He gets counters. And then during my upkeep, I can move those counters around any way I want. Anyway, I can put a bunch on Jar Sage, and then she can provide more mana. And this is, of course, the elf shaman version of the Survival of the Fittest. So, Animar, um, because it's got a high threat density, and it's got a lot of resilience. It's pretty hard to deal with once I get going. More so because Animar himself is protected from black and white. So he can't be dismembered, he can't be swords, he can't be terrorized, he can't be pathed. None of that. So my only worries are red direct damage, but if I get him up to a certain power and toughness, um, once he has 6 counters on him, there's not a whole lot of red direct damage that people commonly play that targets creatures. I'm not talking about blanket effects like um, Blasphemous Act, right? But the targeted removal, typically, it seems that it tops out at 5 that I see people playing Commander. For example, Beacon of Destruction or Blue Bounce. But that's why I have all the uh, counter spells. That's why I have creatures like Plax Manta down here. So Plax Manta, 1 in a blue, flash it into play, and my creatures get Shroud until end of turn. If I pay green and blue, I get to keep it. Otherwise, it's just basically a one shot effect, and then I have to sacrifice it at the end of the turn. No, when it comes into play. When it comes to play, unless I spend green, sacrifice it. So it's like an evoke creature. Then there's. Do I have a Sylvan Safekeeper in here? I don't think I do. But I've got ways to change the target spell or ability to single target. Um, what else do I have that kind of saves Animar? Because that is the focus of the deck. I thought I had something. Ah, yes. Blind Seer. Okay. If I've got Urza in play, this is Urza, by the way. For those of you who don't know, this is Urza in disguise during the invasion storyline. So, Blind Seer, 2 blue blue for a 3/3. Spend 1 in a blue, target spell or permanent becomes a color of your choice until end of turn. So, somebody's going to hit Animar with something, and I have Blind Seer in play. If Urza's down, and I've got 1 in a blue available, I can change the color of that to black or white, rendering it impotent against Animar. Or, for 3 mana, to buy it back, I can change one of the color words on Animar to something relevant. So, protection from different sides. So, anyway, that's Animar, and he's bracket 2. Now, I'm only really looking at the brackets, like I said, because people that watch the channel, people that follow me and like my decks in Moxfield, they might be using the bracket system. So if one of them has been smoking a lot of weed and he's high as a kite and he's got all these cards, maybe not these 3 cards, but if he has all the other cards and he puts Animar together and thinks, wow, I've got a cool bracket 2 deck to play against you guys, he's going to wreck the table and they're not going to be happy with him. So let's go ahead and reset that. Set by bracket. Yeah, upgraded. Upgraded like a motherfucker. I wouldn't say optimized. The reason I wouldn't say optimized is I'm sure I can do more things, but I've got fun cards in here that are just here because I like them, because they're fun cards. And most people recognize they're bad cards. That you shouldn't play them if you're a serious commander player. No, 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 no. Like Magus of the Unseen. Nobody plays with her. 1 in a blue for a 1/1 wizard. Spend 1 in a blue, tap her, untap target artifact and opponent controls, and gain control of it until end of turn. It gains haste if it's a creature, and at the end of the turn, when you lose control of it, if it's not already tapped, you tap it. So she lets you steal people's artifacts for a turn, and you can use it at instant speed. So you can use it on their turn, on some, yeah, as long as she doesn't have summoning sickness and is ready to go. But nobody plays her because she's a bad card. And then this guy, 5 mana for a 1/1 wizard on your turn before you. So in your pre-combat main, you can tap this guy to draw a card. One. That's it for 5 mana. That's really shitty, isn't it? The justification for him is usually with Animar, he costs 1 mana. Now, if you had a 1/1 wizard that cost 1 blue, and once per turn on your as a sorcery, you could tap him to draw a card, you'd probably play that, wouldn't you? But as it is, overall, he's a bad card. I just like the art. I like the art a lot. I love Kai Foglio's art. And there's a couple other cards in here that that aren't good, and I just like them, so I play them. You know, people think Venser isn't good anymore. I beg to differ. Venser Shaper Savant, he's fantastic. Um, Ring of Calonia, I probably don't need that in here. 2, equip creature as trample. Okay, it costs 1 to equip, 2 to cast, 1 to equip. Equip creature as trample. If it's green, at your upkeep, the creature that's equipped gets a plus encounter. So I kind of want to give this to Animar to give him trample, because an ever growing, every time he casts a creature, he gets a plus encounter. So every creature makes Animar bigger and bigger and bigger. And if he has a ring of trample, he becomes a lethal threat pretty goddamn fast. So anyway, we'll put him at bracket 3. If you believe he should be bracket 4, please, that's the comments for. Let me know. But I ask that you justify your answer. I want to hear why you think it would be a bracket 4 if that is the case. Because, like I said, no game changers, no mass land denial, no extra turn cards. Um, his 2-card combos are Animar in my opponent's face. All right, let's look at the next deck. Aurelia's Red Army. So Aurelia is listed as bracket 3 because she has Enlightened Tutor. That's it. That's the only reason. Here, I'll prove it. Enlightened Tutor, instant. So let's move this to considering. And bracket 2, core. No. Bullshit. I don't think so. All my decks, I aim for bracket 3. The Austrusian decks, and I'll name those when I get to those, I aim for bracket 4. So Aurelia has been rather painstakingly constructed. I do have all my decks, no matter how tuned they are, all of them have some funny little bullshit card that is good in that deck, and I just like it. Here it's Regal Bunnycorn. I just think it's fucking hilarious. 1 and a white, power and toughness equal to the number of non-land permanents I control. Well, you see Krinko here, Pestilent Mons here, another Krinko there, Goblin Rabblemaster. Who else makes tokens? General Crete makes tokens. Squee makes tokens. Who else? I've got other, Nightcap. So I've got numerous ways of making tokens, meaning that Bunnycorn gets pretty big pretty fast. Hero Bladehold. So the deck isn't optimized because I have far too many things that cost more than 4 mana for what is supposed to be a Boros Rush deck. Like Gisela, Blade of Gold Knight, 7 mana. She shouldn't be here. If it was bracket 4, if it's optimized, no, she wouldn't be here. Noblesse of War probably wouldn't be here because of the hard, 5 red or 5 white hybrid mana cost. You look at my mana base, and I've got one, two. Now, Nykthos, take it with a grain of salt because sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. But on the surface of it, on turn one, it does not give a color. So I've got one, two, three, four, four lands that produce no color, which is not very efficient for a deck that's designed to get creatures out as quickly as possible. And one of them, is hard 5 red or 5 white, 5 color. There is no colorless in that. Um, Also, the protection suite is a bit wanting. I don't have. Holy shit! I don't have a fucking. I don't even have a ghost way. Ooh, I need to rethink this. This is good that I'm doing this exercise. So Aurelia doesn't have a ghost way, doesn't have a clever um, concealment, doesn't have Triveri's protect. Wow, I don't really have anything to protect my board. I mean, I've got Mark of Asylum that prevents non-combat damage dealt to my creatures. I've got Reconnaissance, so if I attack and I don't like what's going to happen, I can pull the creatures back from combat that are going to meet a bad end. Jesus, did I completely overlook that? Let's see. Do I have anybody that flashes into play and protects everybody else? Casella doesn't flash into play, but kind of protects. Wow. Well, I don't have any of that. Do I need that? I mean, she's pretty hardcore. She goes in pretty fast. Hmm. Huh. That's something to think about. So, what is my mana curve? 3. 3 is pretty heavy. 4. 5. Hmm. I should put protection in here. Well, first I should put that, um, and I can remove the extras. Huh? I should. I've got a Ghostway. Oh, I didn't put Ghostway because of all the tokens. That's why I didn't do that. Hmm. Okay, so we'll move this back to the main deck. Reestablishing her as a bracket 3 deck. And in practice in Prague, she's pretty good because she comes down pretty fast. She starts hitting quickly um, around turn 2 or 3. So turn 1, land. Turn 2, some kind of meta rock, typically Soul Ring, Signet, um, Talisman, Inshallah, if it works. Sort of the Animist. And then turn 3, I'm getting a creature. And I've got enough creatures with haste to a lot of times start attacking on turn 3. And then, if nothing else, I mean, I've got Blasphemous Act to back me up. I've got Beacon of Destruction to blow something out of the water if it's going to be a problem. Intimidation Bolt. No, what's cool about this card, I've mentioned before, when I realized that, oh, um, so if I think somebody's going to attack me, and all the creatures are big, but another one of my opponents, they've got a small creature that's some utility creature that's kind of annoying for whatever reason, I can bolt that little utility creature, and then the other guy, the guy that I think is a threat, that has a huge army and can, come at me in a bad way, he can't attack because all his creatures get scared of what I did to that little utility creature. I just think that's funny. It amuses me to no end. Um, so Aurelia is correctly bracketed. Bracket 3. She's not bracket 2. Um, She's too optimized for that, but she's not bracket 4 because to make a bracket 4 deck, it kind of hurts my head. I don't want to I don't want to go through the exercise of dealing with that. I don't want to think about it. So let's go on to the next deck. The next deck is a bracket 4 deck. This is on Austrasian deck. Azami, Lady of Scrolls. Azami, Lady of No, you can't do that. So she is, let's see, bracket 3 upgraded. She has one game changer, Mana Vault, one extra turn card, Time Speed Navigator, 3 tutors, Trinket Mage, Tezzeret, and Step Through. It's kind of funny that Mind over Matter is not a game changer. So, Mind over Matter, yeah, that I also have this in the deck. We won't talk about that today. Mind over Matter. 2 quad blue. Choose and throw away card, tap and tap target artifact creature land. So if I have a zombie out, and if she's the only wizard out, and I get Mind over Matter down, I am going to sculpt the perfect hand. Because I would just tap a zombie, draw a card. If I don't like it, throw it away. Tap a zombie, draw a card. If I don't like it, throw it away. Tap a zombie, draw a card. If I don't like it, throw it away. Tap a zombie, draw a card. Oh, I like that one. Keep it. Okay, what about the other 6? And go through the process until I have the hand I want, and then take over the game. That's what she's designed to do. She is not designed to be a fair deck. I'm not really worried about how much fun my opponents are having because this is an asshole extrusion attack. If I play a zombie, I'm going to be the dickhead at a table full of dickheads, unless I'm testing it. I've tested her in Prague. Last time I tested her in Prague, I told Cube, and Yishi had come over for a game. So Yishi played Cube's multicolor Drowsy deck, and Cube joyfully played his Big Drowsy deck. Cube was really happy that both his Drowsy decks got to hit the table at the same time. On turn 3, I put Patron Wizard down, and I had complete control of the game from that point on. They didn't get to do anything I didn't let them do, for the most part. Usually had more leeway because he acquired more mana rocks, but if he cast something that I really didn't want him to have, I was able to stop him because I was playing wizards every turn, and the whole time I was holding a foil with an island in my hand and another card. At the end of their turns, end of Yushi's turn, because he was the opponent directly preceding me, if I had any untapped wizards, I would draw 2 or 3 cards. So every turn I'm drawing 2 or 3 cards, and then the Patron Wizard, I'm countering their spells because they can't pay for it. Like I said, it's an asshole deck. But in Ostruzhna, everybody else is playing something on par. And in fact, so this is foil. You can throw away an island, another card from your hand instead of paying foil's mana cost. I'm going to take out Supreme Inquisitor because I don't think he's necessary. 3, double blue for 1/3, tap 5 and tap wizards you control. Yes, I can search somebody's library for 5 cards and exile them. But what I think is more important is getting wizards down faster. So I have ordered from my local LGS, Terran Retige, some wizards that I think are really cool. And they're cheap in casting cost and cheap to buy. So one of them, and I'll show you that mail call when I pick them up on Wednesday, which, oddly enough, is probably when I will post this video. So I plan to take out Supreme Inquisitor. That could change. I do not want to go lower than 32 wizards. I need to keep a high density of wizards in order to have enough gas for Azami. I'm thinking about taking out Void Mage Husher, because countering activated abilities, it doesn't really seem that important. And what I was thinking of putting in, and I'll tell you about this one. I was thinking of putting in the High Fae. Is she High Fae Elder? New card from Foundation. She costs 3 and a blue. She has flash. She gives your other creatures flash too. I was thinking of putting her in. She's a wizard. Um, but once I get those cards in, I will review the deck. Probably will take out Washout. Not guaranteed, because obviously I don't want to choose blue, and it is a sorcery. So I'm thinking of taking that out. But it is kind of interesting that there's only one game changer. That Mind Over Matter is not a game changer. And so officially she's bracket 3. I'll leave it at bracket 3. I will. Because bracket 4, even though she plays at a high level, that just feels like an extra step. And again, this bracket thing is only for my own personal gauging the power level of my decks in the meta community. In the lads I play with, I know goddamn well this deck is too powerful. If I'm going to play it, I announce it beforehand. I just want to test out a zombie. I put some new cards in. And they know what they're in for. And they know what's probably going to happen. But they kind of want to see what happens. You know, if somebody says, I've got this really strong deck, you don't want to lose. You want to win the game. But come on. You're also curious. So, like, what's this asshole going to do to me? How bad is this going to be? So I think that's enough babbling. That's 3 decks. I've got so 24 commander decks. No, 22 commander decks. Heh. Well, no. I've got 20 commander decks of mine. I built them. They're mine for Prague. But one is in build phase. So 19. I've got 3 decks that are mine. I built them. They're mine for Astrushna. That's 23. And then I've got 2 precons and a modified. I don't really feel like they're mine, even though I have modified them a bit more than usual. They're still only Lord of the Rings cards, so they can never be as powerful as my other decks. They just can't be. Like Frodo and Sam, like bracket 2. It'll never go above bracket 2 because it'll never have any game changers. Unless somehow something that was in Lord of the Rings is considered a game changer. Which I really don't see happening. Anyway, let me get this posted and let's get those comments running, yeah?